Welcome to Saving the Investor with certified financial planner, investment advisor, and insurance professional Alfie Townsend, president of Advantage Retirement Group.
Good morning, Southwest Florida. You are listening to Saving the Investor radio show. I am Alfie Townsend, Southwest Florida certified financial planner professional, here with Pastor John Antonucci, and we do have a special guest, Steve Brooder, and he is with St. Matthew's House, and we're going to talk more about that. This is going to be a great show. I can't wait to talk a little bit about what he is doing and his vision.
Yeah, great to be with you in studio. And, Alfie has put together a high net worth toolkit that you want to pick up before we move into the meat of the show today. And it's designed exclusively for affluent retirees and pre-retirees. Inside you're going to have access to 9 copies of information that's going to really get you to and through retirement. It's also downloadable advice and it's advanced guides. It's on tax reduction, estate planning, IRA strategies, charitable giving, and so much more. Listen, you need to be one of the first 9 callers to claim your complimentary toolkit right now. All you have to do is text the word KIT, K-I-T, to 239-747-1077. Again, you want to text that word KIT, K-I-T, to 239-747-1077 to pick up Alfie's toolkit, and it's going to help navigate the fog of investing and get you to and through retirement. And Alfie, before we get into great topics today with Steve Brooder, that's here from St. Matthew's House, we got to talk about the markets. And right now, as we're speaking, we're in the midst of a government shutdown.
Are we?
And, yeah. Well, I didn't notice anything. I mean, I wasn't at the parks today, so I don't know if people were shut down, the bathrooms are closed. But, government just keeps going on, and they really don't want to fund this continuing resolution. They want to get all types of pork involved with that to put $2 to $3 trillion worth of spending on top of that. So what is this going to do to the markets? What do you see them adjusting to?
I think if they didn't give, payback, retroactive payback, I think things would get done a lot faster. So people don't, if you're in the government and you're at home and not working, and, as long as you have some money to pay your bills, you're going to get that money. So they don't really care as much. But if they weren't getting paid back, they would definitely care more and probably put more emphasis on this, to get this thing resolved. But, you're right. Wall Street has not budged at all. The markets have done very well since then. The futures were down on the first day, but then they popped right back up. There were some bad job numbers that came out from ADP. It was supposed to be positive jobs added, and it was negative jobs taken away. So that did drive the markets up, indicating a possible future rate decrease again, which that was sort of coming off the table because the economy was doing pretty good. So, but we'll see. You have the S&P and NASDAQ that they're at all-time highs right now.
Yeah, so like you say all the time, I mean, basically Wall Street likes gridlock. So, most indications are that nothing's going to happen until probably the next pay period because people want to get paid. So probably within the next 2 weeks, something's going to happen.
I would think so.
Yeah.
I would think so. So, we have, there's a whole lot of stuff going on with when you have the markets are doing good. So we have to, it's not all about the markets, but people, that's where a lot of people's life savings are with the market. So we have to really take a look at that. Investors are going, they seem to have confidence. So that's a good thing. They seem to have confidence. And if you have confidence, people, as long as people are still spending, that's what really drives the market.
Yeah, very important, and that's why you really want to stay in touch with Alfie. And if you have not had a review in the past 6 months to a year, it'd be important for you to sit down with him in Fort Myers or Naples, and you can put together, really, if you don't want to come into the office, he's offering a 15-minute complimentary call with one of his trusted advisors here in the office. Whether you're in Fort Myers or Naples, you can give a call, 239-747-1077, or you can text the number 1515 to 239-747-1077. Maybe you have some questions on your mind. Maybe you want to find out about the products and services that Alfie offers here through the Advantage Retirement Group. You also can take advantage by going over to savingtheinvestor.com. Again, that's savingtheinvestor.com. You'll find a wealth of information about Alfie, his company, and all the services that he does offer here. He's also a fiduciary, which means his responsibility is to you, not to any products or services that he offers here through the Advantage Retirement Group. And Alfie, we're still in a little bit of a quagmire as far as some inflation. The inflation numbers are pretty low compared to what the Biden administration was, but the rate cuts are not coming as quick as possible. And I think, don't you, that a lot of people are waiting for that to really see what direction they're going to go into with investing.
Yeah, but you can't be waiting. The people that are wait on the sideline, what happens is you have to be right twice. When to get in, when to get out. So you have to have a plan. That's what we talked about. You have to, the markets, they really, the politics of is not going to affect the markets too much. It just doesn't. We've talked about that for many years. So the main thing is to have a plan and make sure that you have a plan for income, a plan for how are you going to get what you need to pay your bills and then still have money to grow. And we talk about that 4% rule isn't working anymore. We have what we're doing with a lot of our clients is we happen to have something that really has an income that produces 15% income. So if you can get 15% income, that means you don't have to really invest a whole lot with your other monies for that income, so you have more opportunity to grow your money. So we want to look at having an income plan in place is the most important thing when it comes to financial planning, especially if you're retired or soon to be retired. So you have to make sure you have the right income plan to make sure all that is working for you. In addition to that, we have to look at taxes and even though you're retired, you're still going to have to pay taxes. So you have to look at all that when you're putting a whole income plan together. And do you take money out of IRA or do you take it out of your other accounts? So there's a whole lot of different planning that goes on in that.
Yeah, and definitely, something to think about is that people have to be positioned for retirement. So if you're maybe 5 to 10 years from retirement, this would be a good time to connect with Alfie here in Southwest Florida. Alfie has written a couple of books, and if you're ready to dive deeper into retirement strategies that Alfie talks about each and every week, he's got something very special for you. Today, he's making 7 complimentary copies of his book, Making Waves in Retirement, available to our listeners. It's your roadmap to a fulfilling retirement, packed with valuable insights and real-life stories from investors that Alfie has helped save over his 40 years career. He's a certified financial planner professional, but we only have 7 copies available, so what you need to do is just text the word book, BOOK, to 239-747-1077. Again, that's book, BOOK, to 239-747-1077, and pick up your complimentary copy of Alfie's book. There's great investments going on in the country here. Many companies coming over because of the tariffs, which obviously are working, making a real difference in the trajectory of our economy. And as these, data centers get built and investments from Apple and different companies like NVIDIA, come into fruition, what is that really going to do, not only to add jobs, but also to jumpstart the economy in a great way?
Well, that's what the Trump administration, they're saying the fourth quarter is what we have to look at. Fourth quarter is when things are going to really start happening. That one big beautiful tax bill wasn't passed. It was only passed in July. So it's not really taken hold yet. That's why Scott Bassett said the fourth quarter is going to be when you're going to start to see things happening. When you have trillions of dollars, there was over, $13 trillion. It said that it's going to be invested between companies and countries, bring their business here in the United States to avoid those tariffs. So that is going to be big because, like you talked about, the energy sector is going to be gigantic. That's going to be and then you have the construction. They have to make nuclear, so a lot of things are going to be happening. Pharmaceutical, there was a big tariff on pharmaceutical October 1st. It just started, and that means that these pharmaceutical companies are going to make their product here to avoid those tariffs. And if that's what it takes to get them over here, then I think he's using the tariffs in the right way. And, we did something, I do a financial wrap-up every week, and I talked about this with our clients, that when you had back in 2020 during COVID, we had a major problem with pharmaceuticals, and that was a concern that we had. And I said, why don't we make our pharmaceuticals here, even if it costs a little bit more? You have to have here, because this is where you don't want to be dependent on foreign countries to make our pharmaceutical. We're going to be right back. Stay tuned. You're listening to Saving the Investor.
Welcome back to Saving the Investor with certified financial planner Alfie Townsend. Alfie has 40 years, that's 40 years of experience as a certified financial planner professional. He is Southwest Florida's premier financial planner, and he has put together a high net worth toolkit for those of you that are soon to be retired or currently retired, and you want to pick up these toolkit. We have 9 available for you to pick up today. It's advanced guides on tax reduction, estate planning, large IRA strategies, charitable giving, and so much more. And you can get your complimentary toolkit right now by texting the word KIT, K-I-T, to 239-747-1077. Just text that word KIT to 239-747-1077. And before we introduce our special guest in studio today, let me give you a quick overview of the organization he's been leading for the past 11 years. Many of you have heard St. Matthew's House. It's a common name here in Southwest Florida. It's one of the most impactful nonprofits in Southwest Florida, and their mission is to ensure that no one experiencing hunger, homelessness, or addiction is alone or without a pathway to recovery. They've established shelters, food distribution, recovery programs, transitional housing, workforce development. Boy, a lot going on down there at St. Matthew's House. Disaster relief. They've helped people, from crisis to contributor, restoring huge dignity to thousands of lives each and every year. And the man behind so much growth and the transformation over these past 11 years is our guest today, Steve Brooder. Steve has just announced his retirement after more than a decade with St. Matthew's House, where he first served as COO and later as president and CEO. And under his leadership, the organization expanded shelters, launched new recovery and family programs, built training centers, created workforce housing, and served nearly 1 million families. Think about that, with food assistance. We're honored to have Steve in studio with us, Alfie, and I know you're very involved in the vision and the nonprofit of St. Matthew's House on different levels. And I know Steve's your friend, and it's great to have him with us.
Yeah, it is. I'm going to just say one of the charities that our hearts goes out to is yours, Steve. So we wanted you to come on and really talk about St. Matthew's and talk about your background, because you have a extensive background in business, and you, it's been 11 years that you have been with St. Matthew's House. So talk a little bit about that. And I want everybody to know, this is a charity that my wife Tommy and I we give to, and we love what they do. And I think you are going to really open your eyes, and you might want to start giving to St. Matthew's after you hear Steve a little bit. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Alfie, and thank you, John, for just a great introduction. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for all your support. Happy to be on the show today.
Great to have you.
Yeah, so background is kind of key. Alfie mentioned I had a long business background in real estate, development, construction, marketing. I had my own marketing and management consulting company for 15 years. So I did also a lot of nonprofit volunteer work. I led several initiatives. So I had a passion for nonprofit work. And when the opportunity to join St. Matthew's House came up 11 years ago, it was great to wed my business background to my nonprofit passion and really just do so many things that have been so rewarding over the past 11 years.
That's great.
What I look at is, when Tommy and I first talked to you and went over to the restaurant. I want you to talk about the restaurant that St. Matthew has over in Naples. But you were talking about the addiction and the success rate that people that go in through there have, because it's night and day compared to other people. And I have to admit, my mom has gone through in her time, she was addicted to pain pills, and she was, in my lifetime, she was in and out of them. A 30-day program it wouldn't last that long. It just there was but your success rate is so much more than the average. So why is that? And talk a little bit about that, if you would.
So addiction recovery, really key and a centerpiece for all our programs. And I will mention that we just recently had an independent study conducted by the University of Kentucky and the Fletcher Group. Fletcher Group is led by Governor Fletcher, formerly governor of Kentucky. And that study showed that we have 81% success rate when we look at 2 years post-recovery period, which
huge.
It is huge. It's striking in the industry. Some other missions or agencies might claim 40 or 50%. You mentioned 28-day programs, which have far less success rate. And I think it's really attributed to it's a year-long faith-based program. So when we talk to our graduates, they often mention that faith is the difference that really helps them with their recovery. And now we've added an alumni program that helps people stay connected after they're through with our recovery program. Really been key to relapse prevention. And we added a family restoration program. You mentioned your mom, and there's the issues that the family goes through with folks in recovery is so important to address. So we do that through a family restoration program. Together, those two initiatives have really helped increase our outcomes, and we're so excited when we see people just thrive after our programs.
So you're talking about they're committed there for a year. And so how do they get there? Talk to, who gets to say, I want to go to St. Matthew's house? Is it open to anybody, or how does that play out?
People have often say, well, you must advertise to bring people into the program. No, we don't do that, but it's our reputation that's across the country with our success rate and the way we run the program that brings people to the program. We do give preference to folks coming from the 5-county area in Southwest Florida. But people come from, they're referred from families, they're referred from drug court, from probation officers, from judges, and we've had people from as far as Washington State come to the program. So they commit to that 12-month program, which is huge because they are away from their family. We go through several periods. We call a stabilization track the first month. And that's sort of the shakeout period. And I want to mention that we don't do detox. So people come to us, they've already been through a detox, whether it's a clinical setting in a hospital or jail. But now they come to us, they're still kind of rough when they get to us in that first month. Then we go through stabilization and transition track. So it's a phased program. We want to get them from their crisis to become contributors again through case management and just pouring into them.
And when you talk about the addiction program, I mean, how many people do you have normally? I'm sure you have houses. We talked about that in different places. What is the average that people are coming in?
We typically have about 70 men enrolled in our program and about 36 women right now. Now we're expanding both of those programs. We've been limited by our capacity to take people. We ran a capital campaign last year. We were fortunate we raised enough money to really fund 3 initiatives, one being a new shelter for women and children in Fort Myers, and then our women's campus, which is also in Lee County, our recovery campus. We plan to increase that capacity so more women can enter the program, and then transitional housing. That's the other area, the other pillar that we need to increase more housing for people that come out of our programs.
And this is all paid for by donors.
So people that come in, we have an administrative fee, which is just $1,000. If they can't pay it, they don't need to pay it. So they come in, they don't pay anything for the program for 12 months. So that's all the programming, their room and board is all funded through donors, through contributions and grants. We typically don't rely on government funding. So we raise the money to support these programs, and reporting that type of success is key to raising the money to fund the programs.
That's amazing.
Yeah, Steve, that's amazing. And, I love how you took your business and background and, really put it together into something that impacts people in everyday life. And Alfie, that's not too different from families who take what they've built in their entire careers and look for a way to steward it wisely in retirement. Yeah. And for our listeners, listen, if you don't have a plan for your wealth, you really need to create an income plan and a strategy that will help get you to and through retirement. Alfie has what's called a retirement simulator process, which is a deep dive into your current portfolio to see what's really going on. He's going to expose all the hidden fees that could be eating up your returns each and every year. Make sure that you're allocated properly, diversified correctly, not taking undue risk for the amount of return that you're getting each and every year. And he's going to put together a strategy that's custom tailor-made for you. Listen, he doesn't have a cookie-cutter approach. He's going to tailor-make each individual retirement plan and strategy based on your income goals and your financial desires. You owe it to yourself to sit down with Southwest Florida's premier financial planner professional, Alfie Townsend, in Fort Myers or Naples. All you have to do is be one of the first 9 people to text the word VISIT, V-I-S-I-T, to 239-747-1077. Just text the word VISIT, V-I-S-I-T, to 239-747-1077, and visit with Alfie in Fort Myers or Naples. We want you to stay tuned. We're going to be right back right after this break, so don't go away.
Welcome back to Saving the Investor. I am Alfie Townsend, Southwest Florida Certified Financial Planner Professional, here with Pastor John Antonucci and Steve Brooder from St. Matthew's House. And we have been talking to Steve, really offline too. And I want him to really come back a little bit and talk a little bit more. There's so much happening at St. Matthew's House, and this is why we put our money to this as one of the charities that we give to. And I really feel that once he tells a story, you're going to want to do the same thing. Our phone number is 239-747-1077. That's 239-747-1077. So, Steve, talk a little bit about, your key initiatives since you've been at St. Matthew's House.
Yeah, thanks, Alfie. We've really gone through a lot of growth over the years. I go back to COVID. You mentioned earlier how that kind of shook everybody, and we were serving about 300 families a month through our food assistance program. Back in March of 2020, that exploded to over 4,000 families served with groceries
from
in
3,000 to 4,000.
And then it grew from there. So John mentioned that we've now served nearly 1 million groceries to families, households suffering with food insecurity. And we launched a food assistance warehouse back during that time, a 10,000 square foot warehouse that still serves the community today, food insecurity and disaster response. So that was one area. We opened an empowerment hub, and this has been really key to helping people lift themselves up from their circumstances, whether it be coming out of the recovery program, the shelters, or the food assistance program. The Empowerment Hub is a learning and development center that we opened 2 years ago, and it not only serves people that are coming from our programs, but people in the community that are underemployed or unemployed. With classes, we have certification classes for HVAC and electrical, but we also have nutrition, menu planning, financial literacy, ESL classes. So that facility has really been key. And we opened a new shelter right here in Fort Myers. It's coming up on a year in December. That was really key because there was such a need to serve women that were experiencing homelessness. Back then when we did the groundbreaking, just about a year ago, there were 165 women living in their cars in Fort Myers that we knew of. So tremendous need. We opened the shelter last December. It was full right away. It's been full every day since with a big waiting list. And we have 39 beds, so it's women and children that come to us. It's been very successful. We have a lot of great partners in Fort Myers, and we've been able to transition women out of a shelter, which is the key, to get them back on their feet, help them with daycare for their kids, with employment, with permanent housing.
So what's your goal there? Is okay, how long typically do they stay there, see?
It varies. Some women, and it can be single women, moms with kids, so it could be anywhere from a month to 6 months. It takes longer for moms with kids to get stabilized, and we work with them. Our case managers work with them. The key is to find affordable permanent housing. As I said, get them employment, medical taken care of, daycare taken care of. But the key is to help them transition out of that shelter. So get them back on their feet.
The person that's running that facility, wasn't she did she go to a facility? Talk about that.
So many of our staff,
Yeah,
including one of the managers at the staff, went through our addiction recovery program. In fact, at any point in time, about 50% of our staff, and we have over 300 on staff right now, came through the shelters or the recovery programs or community service. So the people that are running that, it's
See that
key.
success rate.
And it's key because they have a heart for the people that they serve.
Yeah.
So they show that passion, and there's women that work at the Fort Myers shelter that they themselves have been homeless or dealing with addiction. So
Yeah.
it's been a great success story, and we're looking to do more. That's one of the greatest areas of need right now is funding the operations of that Fort Myers shelter for women and children.
Talk a little bit about how our listeners can, help if they want to help at St. Matthews. What's the easiest way? And give it a few times so they can write it down and stuff.
Sure. So people can go to our website, stmatthewshouse.org. It's stmatthewshouse.org, Matthews, 2 T's. So go to that website, and they'll find plenty of opportunities to donate, volunteer, learn more about the program, learn about our faith-based approach to all the things that we're doing to help people in the community. So it's stmatthewshouse.org is the website.
I love it. That's you're really, you brought it to a whole different level. I mean, when you're talking about just not too long ago, just COVID, it was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Feeding 300, and now it's 4,000. Now it's even higher than that. So, how does that capacity grow so fast? I mean, what's the secret for success there?
We're responding to a need. I always say that we haven't grown for the sake of growing, but to meet that need that's growing. And food insecurity is still here in Southwest Florida and around the country. There was a study that came out that the United Way put out that 4 out of 5 households they may not be below the poverty level, but they have challenges just meeting the daily living expenses, and food is one of those. So people struggle right now. We continue to serve today about 9,000 families every month with groceries, and that total since March of 2020 is now just short of 1 million families have been served with groceries in those 5 years. It seems like a long time ago with COVID, but a lot of growth, and again, there's a lot of need to address. We can't do it without our food bank partners and community food drives. That's another way that people can help, by donating gift in kind through food that goes right to our warehouse and then goes out to help the people that are in need.
Yeah, and it's amazing, as I'm listening to you, you guys really help the whole person, spirit, soul, and body. And I think that contributes to why your success rate is so high, because you're not just giving a hand out or a hand up. You're teaching people how to really fish, from the standpoint of, they're once, in a place where they never thought they would be. Probably most of these people that are homeless were working, and they were just one paycheck away, like a lot of families, from being on the streets. And you give them the tools and the technical ability to learn a trade and different things. Talk about, who comes in to teach people that? Is that people that do it on the side that are currently active, or retirees? Because, I mean, if you're learning how to do something that you never did before, that to me, it excites me, because that gives people really hope to know that I can learn something that can get me back on my feet, where I can provide for myself, because that gives people their self-worth, too, when they're out there working.
I like to say that hope is extinguished without opportunity.
Yeah, you're right.
So we make sure that opportunity is presented in many ways, and it's through our case managers, through the Empowerment Hub, through the curriculum that we have in all of our programs. And John, as you said, it's really giving them hand up and helping them develop the skills that they need to get back on their feet and be productive once again. Because nobody wants to be in a homeless shelter.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody desires to become homeless. Seniors is another huge category of growth in homelessness right now. And another thing I say often is loneliness is one of the greatest reasons for homelessness and addiction. So people become separated. They might lose a spouse, they lose a job, and as you said, even one bill
Right.
Going paycheck to paycheck can cause people to trip into homelessness. Our seniors are especially affected in Southwest Florida with the lack of affordable housing, high HOA fees, high rents.
Yeah.
So we're seeing a lot of growth in seniors, and that's tragic when you see an 80-year-old woman come to our shelter, which has happened, and she has nowhere to go. So we work with all the folks that come to us to try to get them back on their feet and out of the shelter.
And I'm sure there's people you have to turn away because of capacity.
We have a wait list. We've had a wait list every day for years and years and years, and we try to mitigate that by working with other agencies. There are over 400 nonprofits in Southwest Florida, and we work with all of those to look for ways to help with rental assistance, co-housing, shared housing, any way that we can help people just get back on their feet if we don't have a bed for them, which is the reality.
See, we're wrapping this up. What would be your biggest need right now if you talk to people?
I think we're talking about women in need. So the fact that we opened this women's shelter for women and children in Fort Myers, and we have a women's recovery campus in Lee County. So those two areas are areas of great need. When I talk about a capital campaign, we're building capacity. But once you build that capacity, you need to raise the operating support because now all your occupancy costs and budgets have grown. But this shelter in Fort Myers, I think, is a great opportunity for people to see a very tangible need to serve women and children, and they can help out with the operational needs for this shelter.
I love it. So this is
amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing, John. And as a pastor, you see it also all the time.
Yeah, and sometimes I feel helpless, but thank God there's places like St. Matthew's House and others that we could send people to, and it's really incredible results that you're doing. And what stands out is how strategic you were. You didn't just respond. You built the capacity to meet future needs. And Alfie, you talk about that all the time, about being proactive in retirement planning and not waiting till the crisis hits. Listen, as listeners, that's why you want a financial plan with Alfie. He can give you that same kind of confidence that Steve's programs has been giving thousands of families over the years. Alfie has built a legacy of a company over 40 years as a certified financial planner that will help get you to and through retirement. Visit with him in Fort Myers or Naples. Text the word VISIT, V-I-S-I-T, to 239-747-1077. Again, text the word VISIT, V-I-S-I-T, to 239-747-1077. We're going to be right back with more Saving the Investor, so stay tuned. Don't go away. Welcome to Saving the Investor with certified financial planner Alfie Townsend. You know, Alfie has put together a high net worth toolkit. Listen, it's available to everyone who's listening today. It's designed for affluent retirees and pre-retirees, along with advanced guides on tax reduction, estate planning, large IRA strategies, charitable giving, and so much more. Listen, you can pick up your complimentary package of his high net worth toolkit. All you have to do is text the word KIT, K-I-T, to 239-747-1077. Again, text the word KIT, K-I-T, to 239-747-1077 and get your high net worth toolkit today. You know, Alfie, the government shutdown continues to dominate the headlines, and Trump is really leaning into it. He's framing it as a way to cut waste, force spending reforms, even suggesting permanent layoffs in parts of the federal workforce. That message, really reassures some investors who like smaller government, don't they?
Well, we spend so much, there's so much waste in government, and there's so much that they can cut out. And if they could just we need to cut things out, because there's this waste is just adding to the deficit, and every dime we can save, it's gonna help. I know there's so much that we have to save. So you start saying, well, what does it matter? What does it matter? Well, if you think about that when you're, you know, buying food and stuff like that, what does it matter if I buy that? It just adds up. Things adds up, and it really adds up fast when you're talking about, $37 trillion of deficit. So you don't want to add any more on there because it's just a compounding effect. So yeah, I think if they could cut, this week it really didn't hurt the market with government closing down, but the longer it stays, the more it's going to hurt. And you're looking at TSA. They're right now they're handling it, but the TSA they're
TSA, air traffic controllers, they're all government.
Air traffic controllers, yeah. You're looking at these air traffic controllers, and if they're not going to get paid, they already have a lot of stress on their plate, so they don't want to.
That really needs to be in the private sector anyway. Both of them, I would think. Yeah, because the government isn't doing a great job with it.
They're not, and it would be great if, but things need to be done, and if they can get this ironed out pretty soon. When you're wanting $1.4 trillion of healthcare sounds good, but you got to say, how are we going to pay for it?
Right.
And what they're going to say, the government, what they're going to say is we're going to raise taxes.
Right.
The Democrats will say we got to raise taxes, but what happens is, the very wealthy, uber rich, there's strategies that they're going to use to avoid that. So who is going to hurt? It's going to hurt the middle class. It's going to hurt them because they're the ones that will end up paying for it, and it just doesn't make sense. We need to really cut spending. That's the bottom line. We need to cut spending. If we can cut spending and offer to really ask for that and put the American people on hostage, lockdown, really, to say, hey, if you don't give us this, we're not. They wanted a 6-week extension of what was already passed, just a 6-week extension, and they turned that down. So Schumer is really
he's listening to AOC, he's listening to the left wing radicals because he doesn't want to be primaried, right? By her,
and because she'll win, and that's in New York for you. So there's a lot of things. I'm hoping that this gets fixed relatively fast. Let's talk a little bit about numbers because the S&P. We talked a little bit about it. You were talking, John, about this high net worth toolkit, and you need to go ahead and I want you to give that out, how they can get that, because I'm going to tell you what's in there. There's a lot of information, how to save taxes, how to really avoid unnecessary taxes that you're paying. So this high net worth toolkit is something that you really need. And it's free. And like John says, if it's free, it's for me. So just, you can text it and you can download it. We have a hard copy at the office. If you want to stop by and pick that up, you can definitely do that. Or if you want to just download it, you can do that. But if you, there's so much information in there that is available for you, and it's worthwhile to go ahead and download it.
Yeah, and just in the tax packet available, that's in this whole packet that you're going to get. Alfie has 5 strategies in there, gifts, loans, and sales. He talks about strategies of installment sale to an irrevocable grantor trust, grantor retained annuity trust, remainder purchase marital trust. There's so much deep information in here that you're not even thinking about that could help you avoid federal taxes, because there's strategies that he's put together that will help you maximize your retirement benefits. All you have to do is text the word KIT, K-I-T, to 239-747-1077. Pick up that high net worth toolkit today. It's loaded with information that will give you great insights and great strategies to help you shelter your money, maximize your income in retirement, and protect the growth that's taking place while you're retired. All you have to do to get that toolkit is text the word KIT, K-I-T, to 239-747-1077. 1077. And Alfie, as you're going to read the year-to-date of the S&P, NASDAQ, the Dow, we're all up very, very high. A lot of people are sitting on the sidelines and saying, well, maybe it's too high to get in. They don't want to get in the market. What are other avenues that they can maximize their finances that are just sitting in a 2 or 3% pot right now that you can offer them that can get them maximizing returns?
Yeah, we can. I'll talk about that. But for example, Tesla, they're about $450 a share right now, and they have, really
just two something.
Yeah, it was just two something like that longer. You could have said the same thing. Tesla's going down,
right?
Or it doesn't make sense to invest in Tesla. It's too high. They're not selling as many cars or whatever it is. But they doubled in like 2 months. Okay. And the number on them right now, I'm hearing, is 750,000 or 750 per share.
Yeah.
And they're at 450. So there's room to run. There's room to run on a lot of these AI stocks and stocks in general. And what we do with our clients, we have, different like a structured note that's, they're paying right at 8%. We have some different type of investments that are paying 15%. It's a 2-year commitment. It's a credit investor. That means you have to have a certain net worth or a certain income. But yeah, we can get you a 15%, and that's for people that are needing income or that has IRAs and just want that investment to roll back into their account. So we can do that. But I always emphasize that income planning is probably the most important part of planning. When we look at everybody's plan, we want to make sure they have an exit strategy. When our will matures, when we are no longer here on this earth, when we are just renting space right here, that money, you want that money to go to your family, your spouse. You want it to go to them without taxes. So there's a lot of planning that we do, but income planning is very important. But yeah, we can generate some income that would be about 25% of what you're probably putting in right now for that same income. So if you're needing $1 million, what $1 million could generate is $150,000, just that batch of money, and then your other money would sit there and grow in the market. So there's a lot of things that we can do for you that you're, but you have to call. You have to call, set up a 15-minute phone call and let us talk and see if we can help you out.
Yeah, very important. If you could either come in the office, Fort Myers or Naples, or like Alfie said, he has a 15-minute strategy call with one of his trusted advisors here at the Advantage Retirement Group. And all you have to do is pick up your smart device, text the number 1515 to 239-747-1077. That'll take you to a landing page, and you actually can schedule on a calendar a 15-minute time slot where you can talk to one of Alfie's trusted advisors and answer some questions that are maybe keeping you up at night. Text the number 1515 to 239-747-1077 or go to savingtheinvestor.com. Again, his website is savingtheinvestor.com.
Thanks, John. The 15-minute phone call I love those because it's non-committal. All you have to do is call and schedule that, and what we will do is just ask you questions and really listen to you and say, okay, what's on your mind? What are you thinking? How can we help you? How do you think we can help you? And you let us know what you're looking for, see if there's something we can do. But a lot of times, John, we're able to increase people's returns and reduce their volatility quite substantially. And not only that, we're able to create income for a lot of our clients with so much less money. But you're listening to Saving the Investor. I am Alfie Townsend, known as Southwest Florida Certified Financial Planner Professional, and I love doing what we do. We have a TV show called Saving the Investor on NBC2. It's on every Sunday right after Meet the Press at 11 o'clock, 11 to 11:30. And, of course, right here on 92.5 for many years, well over 10 years now on this station. And we just love it. And we just ask you to have a great weekend. Be safe. Until next week, be blessed.